Hello dear friends, Juvie Wilson here. So today I will be showing you how to paint using Colorshift handmade watercolors. So the first thing you have to do is activate your handmade watercolors by just adding 2 to 3 drops of water and let it sit for about 2 minutes. For my calligraphy, I love it thick and rich, so I only add 2 drops, and if for painting, I add 3 drops of water because I want it runny to get the transparency and gradients. I created this piece which comes with a set of my Thankful collection for you to play it with the paints. So here now I am starting off with the color Wisdom. Wisdom is my favorite from the collection as it creates a very pretty color shifts from green, teal, purple, pink, blue, sometimes a silver lining and a yellow gold, which when I created this color I could only think of a pretty butterfly. So here we're going to apply that color on the dark spots of this butterfly. Well, the rest part of this butterfly will just have to go back later. So after painting these, we will have to let them dry before painting the other parts of the butterfly so it won't bleed with the color that we will be adding later. Now let's paint the leaves. I am using Life for the leaves. I believe this color is so perfect for leaves because it has a shifting colors of green, teal, and yellow gold. Here I want the transparency comes out at the tip part of the leaf for highlights. So when I first applied the paint, it was rich and we'll just add water as we drag the pigments down to the leaf. So I just picked up water with my brush and dropping it in and blending and dragging that pigment down to the tip of the leaf as it creates that gradients. By the way, I am using Silver Brush Limited's Ultra Mini Angular Brush because of this teeny tip which helps control the amount of paint that we need to create the gradients. But if you don't have this, sure you can just use whatever brush you have with a smaller tip, or a size 0 brush for sure will work just great. So again, I'm dropping in the paint with a thicker consistency on the upper part of the leaf and we'll drag it down as it gets lighter so we can have some tonal values for this leaf which really adds character or gradients. You don't really want to just paint it flat. Unlike with calligraphy, I love to paint it in creamy or thick consistency as it turns out prettier with a solid and pigmented look on every letter. But except if you're aiming for an ombre lettering style, then you can do this technique as well. Here I'm just adding water and blending it in and dragging the pigments down, making it sure to keep the transparency in the lower part of the leaf for its highlights and still be able to see the vein details. Let's just drop that down there. I don't need to add more water because it's already runny. But this is too light and transparent. I want to add more. So this worksheet comes free if you order a set of my Thankful Handmade Watercolor collection. Please do check out my Instagram, which link I will provide in the description box below, as I posted several videos showcasing each of these beautiful watercolors. And this one is rich and thick, so I'm just gonna stop there. I'm not gonna drag it all the way down so I can add water. Right, now I dip it in the water and we'll just drag it down there and you can see the transparency. There you go, that's pretty. I really love this Ultra Mini brush as it helps control the amount of pigment, especially when painting using handmade watercolors. because usually they are so pigmented. And of course it works great on this piece because it's just a small size. If you are painting larger pieces, then you need the bigger brushes. These minis might still come handy though for details. Alright, that is so pretty. Oh, I love it. Okay, I think we're done with life. So whoever ordered my limited set, you get to color this piece, and I hope you enjoy it. I don't want to start with this one, nor with this one, nor with this one, because there are these leaves that are attached to them, and I want it to thoroughly dry, so I would not accidentally smudged it. And this one for sure is already dry, see? So I'm gonna go back to this pretty butterfly. I'm going to use Blessed for the butterfly. This is a pretty shifting colors of purple, blue. I only had 2 drops of water, and it's runny for this little brush. It's gonna be thick, so I am going to brush it off, remove excess. I want it I don't want to overload it, so it's not gonna be a big blob of paint to start with. So right, let's start it here, and the same, just have to drag it down with water later. Ooh, it's pretty. Look at that. Yes, I'm happy about this. Oh, look at the color. Amazing. Okay, so I dipped my brush in water. As you can see, I will be dragging this one down. And try not to touch the blues. So if you don't have this, if you don't have this Ultra Mini, you can use Zero brush. This is even just a cheap one, and that has a very thin tip or bristles. You don't want to use the fluffy thick ones because you're just gonna be picking up a lot of pigment and it's hard to control, right? So I'm loading more of the paint, Blessed, then going around this area. I want it this part thicker because this is the bottom. Oh, I love it. I don't know if you can see, but there you go. You don't want it overflowing with paint because it's hard to control the amount of paint and you can't really get the gradient. Nice, nice, nice. Alright. This part here I want it thick. Then just blend it in. Oh my, it's pretty. And here I'm just dropping in water to finish off the shimmers. So the upper part there is just water, because there are still some shimmers in here in the brush. Nice. Let's see. Ooh, look at all that. Oh goodness, it's pretty. Pretty. So I went thick on these parts and these parts, and then the rest here are just glazing. Let's not forget this. So I'm picking up wisdom, and it's just the tip, because this is a teeny part. Not gonna cover the tiny white highlight there. Now let's move forward to the flower. I don't want to touch that part because it's right next to that butterfly that is still drying. I am gonna go this flower so that we have time to dry it out later. Then we can jump back to this flower. Because if we're gonna do the middle, we can work on that and we can work on that. So let's jump into this one. So I'm going to use Love because Love is more of a reddish tone. So, oops, it's too thick now. Let's add a little. Let's make it 2 drops. Because 2 drops with using a bigger brush is gonna be rich, but since we're using a tiny one, it's fine, and we'll be able to control it real good. So Love is more of a red pink, so that will be pretty for this flower. Should always start at the inside part of this petal, so we can drag it down there, because the highlighted part of the petal is gonna be in this part here, the tip. And we're gonna drag that down with water. Alright, I'm running out now. It's thinning now. I'm just gonna dip with water, dip my brush in water, and just drop it in. A little more. Oh, I can't wait to see the finished painting of this one. So I was adding more there because it's like there's a hole. And then just leave this white part. It's not totally white, there's some shimmers there, but a lighter shimmer. Then I wanna do this part, not this one, because it will just blend in there. Alright, so picking up. And I don't want it too thick because this is not much of a petal. So I'm gonna brush off what's in there. It's thin. And I think it's thin, but that's okay. We can just keep on applying until all the shimmers will stick in there. Yep. Maybe a little more. Alright. Then I'm gonna go back in this part. There you go. And just perfect it. The paint is thinning now, so I'm just dragging it down, leaving some highlights there. Then I'm picking up some more paint on a watery part because I don't want it too thick for this tiny part here. Alright, see? Then running low and just perfect for the grading. gradient highlighted in the tip of the petal. Pushing more of the paint. Alright. That is so pretty. I love it. Oh goodness. Oh. Alright. Let's continue to this tiny tip. There's really like a hole there. Let me fill it up. Alright, then this part. So there's still some pigment in my brush, so I'm just finishing it up. I did not load it. That doesn't need to be thick. Or no, I want that to be thick. Yeah, I want that to be thick because it's underneath all these petals. So thick. There you go. Oh, very nice. Very nice. I'm adding this thickness here. Very nice. Alright. Then let's do this one. This is thick, but we'll work on it. I tried to keep the edge of the petals with that black lining so that to separate each of the petals, because if you just cover everything, it will just gonna create like a one whole huge petal. You're gonna lose the details. Alright, now if there's still some more pigment, so I'm brushing it out to the inner parts of the other petal just to use them all up. I just dipped my brush on the water and drag these down. So it's really fun to use this handmade watercolor. It's kind of tricky though, because it's two different things with calligraphy. Calligraphy, you just want to rich and cover all the strokes. But with watercolor painting, there's the tone, the gradients, the transparency that we want to keep, because that's the beauty of watercolor painting, right? So it's kind of fun, and it's getting used to it. Alright, let's see. Then I want to go back into this baby buds there. This is already dry, yeah, so I'll just put that there. That's already dried out. I'm just gonna add one dot or two. It's gonna be too watery. So the most yellowish I have is Inspire, I think. Yeah, because it's shifting colors of gold, different tones of gold, and I want these tiny buds to pop out, so I want a thick, rich, but then I added a lot of water. So there you go. I just have to dot. I don't like it. It's too much, but let's work on it. Let it flow. Keeping the outlines as it is. Alright. So nice, so nice. I'm pushing the pigment more so that it leaves a lot of shimmer. So for these petals, I'm gonna add Joy. So I'm gonna add 2 drops of water. And that's already softened from the first couple drops we did. so we don't need to let it sit. Joy is more purple and coppery pink. It's too watery. I want it thick. I want it thick this time. Cause these petals are all white. There's no gradient. If we're gonna go loose on that one, it's too transparent. So I wanna go thick. But let's apply it by layer. Alright, then let's continue with the other petal. It's too runny. It's okay. If it's too runny and you want it really thicker than that, you can just go back and add another layer. It seemed like they look the same with love, but when you see them with the shiftings later, you can see the difference. Alright, so I will be adding another layer for these petals to make it more pink because it came out really thin since the base is white and it's the coppery tone that shows if it's thin. I will just set this to time lapse and we'll get back later. Next, we will be painting the dots since we are still letting the pink petals thoroughly dry so that we won't smudge or it won't bleed with the other color for the remaining 4 petals. For the dots, I will be using Silver Black Velvet Script Liner. This could pick up a pretty good amount of paint because of its long, soft bristles and could create fine lines or dots as well. I am using Wisdom for these dots because it's like an extension to what's the dominant color we have on the butterfly. The antennas, I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'm not gonna even mess that up because my hand is so shaky. This one I wanna create gradients in this one. So picked up a thick color and a thick pigment, thick amount of pigment, and I'll start with the inner part of the petal and the same as what we did a while back. I'm just gonna drag it out with water to create gradient. So I just dip my brush with water and drag it out, and I will leave some white areas on the edge of the petals to create highlights. And as much as possible, you want to stroke your brush in the way where the petals drop. Okay, I'm just gonna drop it in water to blend the rest in. Ooh, that is so pretty. So this kind of like a white with all the shimmery highlights. I love this one. So Grace is really different from Joy and Love. They all are pretty but of different tones. Alright, this needs more I want that thick. All right. And that looks so pretty, my dear friends. Let's take a look. I love the dots too. Now we go to the word. So the thankful word here, to me this is the name of my collection, but when you receive yours, lettered your names on it, just to personalize this little piece for you from me. So with the word, it's up to you if you want to color it with using the different colors in the collection, or you're just gonna color it with one color, whichever is your favorite. In my case, I will start with faith. I want the upper part of the word lighter, and I'll use wisdom the bottom. This one is the angular brush from Silver Ultra Mini, and it's just perfectly fills it in. Then I'll go with the thick downstroke first, and let me do the wisdom later so that I will not mix the pigments into the other pan. See how perfect is this angular tip that just fills right in to the letters. Oh my gosh, I dipped it on wisdom, so I guess I'll have to do the T. Ah, amazing. Ooh. And if you want to blend that in, you just have to add water, a little bit of water, but in my case it's still wet, so they're still blending. Great. I don't bother to even fill this ruggedy edge of the letter, because that's fine. It adds characteristic to these letters. Okay. Wow, I love this. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Amazing. Alright, let's continue. I might just have to... Okay, let's try it out. So I'm gonna go back in. I already washed my brush, swished my brush in clean water. And I'm gonna go back in with Faith. This one, for letters or calligraphy, I love it thick and rich. I love it thick and rich. So I'm gonna have to do this in time lapse. I think we can... Oh, I think I can fill in the thin stroke with this one, just using the pointy part of this angular brush. I think I can fill in. Yeah, I think I can. Yeah, I think I can use this one, but just being so gentle and just making sure that I'm using the tippy tip of this angular brush. That one, I forgot that part. And I have more on my brush, so I'm just gonna stroke it in somewhere that I think is thin. Maybe this one, just to finish it off and not waste it. So now I'm going in with the color Wisdom, and I'm just gonna go in like as what we did with the top part of the letter. I'm gonna start with the thick down strokes and come back in later with the thin strokes. Seems like this is not blending it much because the top color is already dry, so I just have to stroke it a bit on top. it will still blend in. It will. So why I love filling in using this paint, because for those who followed me for quite a while now, I'm so into using gel pens. It's like I have to finish up my pieces with gel pens for the glitters and sparkles. I know most people are using it for calligraphy, but I also love watercolor. It's my first love, so I wanted to apply this Colorshift in my watercolor paintings as well, because I cannot use much of my gel pens. Alright, now we're going to start with the thin upstrokes. So just have to be gentle. And again, I'm using the tip of this angular teeny brush, silver ultra mini angular brush. I have most of the silver black velvet, especially if your technique is flowy, loose watercolor technique, then the silver black velvet is really perfect for that job. So we are done. I love this piece. I can't believe I created this. Well, thank you so much, dear friends, for watching this tutorial, and I hope you all had fun painting using my Colorshift handmade watercolors. Please do check my Instagram, which link you can find in the description box below. There, I posted a lot of videos and infos about my Colorshift handmade watercolors. So if you have questions, send me a DM or comment down below, and I will get back to you. Thank you, friends, for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, click that notification bell button if you want to see more of my art videos, and please do share this video to those who might be interested.